Hi again everyone. In this video I'm going to show you an assortment of albums from the letters E to I. And the first album is Emerson, Lake and Palmer's first album, and recently Super Wes, did a video where he said that this cover was originally planned for a Spirit album, and that was really interesting. I didn't know that. It's one of my all-time favorite records. And this one, it's a Canadian copy. And as with all things kind of Atlantic, this is a fairly original pressing, possibly an original pressing, and it has the red Atlantic label for the cotillion label. You know, you see this on the early Zeppelin albums. If you have an original or a close to original pressing, it'll be red instead of the tricolor or whatever that they were using in the States at the time. Esquivel. Other Worlds, Other Sounds. Fantastic cover. This is a stereo copy. And Esquivel is, I guess he's considered easy listening, but the production on his records is amazing. It's from the early days of stereo recording, and it's very wide separation and fantastic instrumentation. Tremendous producer, and Esquivel's become very famous, although he's no longer alive. Every Mother's Son. This is their first album. It's stereo copy. It still has the original shrink wrap on it. And it has their big hit on it, Come On Down to My Boat Baby, which was a huge hit back around 1967 or 68. Ella Fitzgerald, Ella in Berlin on Verve, including Mac the Knife. This is an original copy on Verve. The Fleetwood's Greatest Hits on the Dalton label, which Dalton's possibly more famous for having the Ventures record for them. But the Fleetwoods had a few hits back in the early 60s, late 50s. Come Softly to Me, Mr. Blue. This is a nice stereo copy of the Four Seasons album, Dawn. It's on Philips. An early stereo Four Tops album. It's their second album. I Can't Help Myself. It's the same old song. It's on Motown, or Tamla Motown. In Canada, though, they are pressed and distributed by Phonodisc in Toronto. Jumping to the 80s, early 80s, this is John Foxx. I think it's his first solo album. It's called Metamatic. This is a British copy. John Foxx was the original vocalist in Ultravox. I think he recorded 2 albums with Ultravox before leaving the band. He was replaced by Midge Ure. Rory Gallagher, In the Beginning. Now this is a very interesting Rory Gallagher album. I'd never seen this one before. And it's actually, he recorded before Rory Gallagher went solo. He was in a band, Taste, in Ireland, who recorded 3 albums that are very much Rory Gallagher albums. Before that, he recorded this in 1967, but it was never released until later on when he became famous. After Rory recorded 3 albums with the band Taste, he went solo. This is his second solo album. It's called Deuce. It's from around 1971. And a later Rory Gallagher album called Tattoo. Davy Graham, Folk, Blues and All Points in Between. And this is a reissue of probably one of his 60s records, which is great because try to find his early records in Canada, you won't find them at all. But the reissue is from 1985. Now Davy Graham was kind of like Bert Jansch from Pentangle. He was one of the premier folk acoustic guitar players in Britain, very influential kind of guy. I think he probably knew Paul Simon when Paul Simon was living in Britain back in the early 60s. The Grassroots Powers of the Night, which I believe is the Grassroots' last album. They kind of reunited in the 80s and recorded this LP. Rob Grill, the late Rob Grill, vocals and bass. Another British band called the Groundhogs. This is Crosscut Saw. And the Groundhogs were kind of in the spirit of Cream, with T.S. McPhee, Tony McPhee playing guitar, and very unique sound. Really, really a great band from the early 70s. Bluesy, hard rock, a little psychedelia. This is from the mid-70s. This is a Canadian band called Hammersmith, with a British name. Canadian band. At one time they were also called Painter, and I think prior to that they were the 49th Parallel. Another British album, or British band, it's Hawkwind. This is one of their albums from the mid-70s. It's called Thrilling Stories of Science and Fantasies, Astounding Sounds, Amazing Music. And if you know Hawkwind, you know what this is going to be like. Kind of space rock. A hard album from 1990, which is very late for a vinyl recording. It's Brigade. If you want to read an interesting book, the autobiography by Anne and Nancy Wilson is really an interesting read. Heavy Hits. This is another Columbia or CBS compilation album. Oh, well, this one's from around 1968. This one has some pretty serious music on it, like Electric Flag, White Rabbit, The Great Society with Grace Slick, The Byrds, 8 Miles High, The Chambers Brothers, Time Has Come Today. Some really, really good stuff. This is the Holly Ridge Strings, conducted by Stu Phillips. It's the Beatles Songbook, Volume 2. Band called Icehouse, Man of Colors. I don't remember if they were British or Australian, but this band was Australian. NXS, Shabu, Shabu, or Shuba, Shabu, Shuba. Thank you for watching.